Is the wonder kid of wonder kids, both as a member of that incredible secondary. There he is, and running back kicks for this team, and he is some dynamic. Toe meets leather, and we're underway. A touchback, and they'll bring it out to the 25-yard line, and here is the one and only Josh Sims.
Well, Timmy B, history has a funny way of repeating itself. Matt Rule this week pointed out the fact that his team was 5-1 last year, ranked 25th in the country on national TV, went on the road and got beat by a very good Indiana team. Well, here we are again, nationally ranked team on the road once again, 5-1 on the season, and he said we simply need to play better, block out the distractions, and do know what we know we can. He said, I know how this team can handle adversity. I want to see how they handle success. This is their first chance to show that out here tonight. Timmy B.
All week long, the focal point of college football on Nebraska has not been about this 5-1 start. It's been about their head coach and a certain opening within the Big Ten. Darius Taylor is in the backfield. He'll carry it off the right-hand side. They want to get something done on first down, stay ahead of the chains. They pick up 4 for 2nd and 6. And there's Drake Lindsey, redshirt freshman from Fayetteville. Followed up, he was the shadow for Max Brosmer, who's now a Minnesota Viking, made their roster of 53, and from that he took a great deal of confidence and has only grown. We saw him in his opener, got that victory, and it's just been a steady climb. His offensive coordinator, Greg Harbaugh, says he's right on time. He's not exceeding expectations, though people around here might differ with that, thinking he's been better than advertised. Taylor this time is stoned at the line of scrimmage. Javen Wright, he had a little momentum going, and with the help of Guthrie 21, they get him down after a gain of 2. 3rd down and 4.
As soon as this play starts, I want you to keep your eyes in the middle right there. Number 0, Javen Wright. He runs right away, defeats the block, and he's right there in position to stop Taylor.
Ashton Beers is the leader of this offensive front. He's been a little nicked up, the center, number 78. Out of the shotgun. Bubble screen complete to Tracy. Nebraska does the job defensively. They recognized what was coming. It'll be 4th down and 3. So a punt formation after a 3-and-out for Minnesota.
Take a look at Deshaun McCullough. He's usually that talented rusher, but this time he's going to drop out, and he drops out and can see this all develop. He defeats the block, and he's right there to make the play. Outstanding job and a nice start by that defense. Defensive coordinator John Butler is giving different looks and showing this young quarterback things he may not have seen.
Tom Weston with a beautiful high punt. Ja'Cory Barney is back deep. And they're going to rule it out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. And Devin, you got the keys to the game.
Yeah, tonight's keys to the game are sponsored by Peloton, introducing the new cross-training series. For Nebraska, you got to protect the ball. They have gotten away the last 2 weeks with turn the ball over and still find a way to win. Your luck could run out, so you got to make sure you're protecting it. For Minnesota, you have to establish the run. Too much has been put on Drake Lindsey. You got to give him some relief in the form of that run game.
A couple of coaches that have spent some time on their Peloton. PJ gets a workout every time out. Emmett Johnson's in the backfield. Raiola's pass is caught, and Isaiah Hunter is twirled down as Raiola's pass was right to him, and Zaquan Bryan, number 4, takes care of him after a pickup of 3. There you see the numbers on Dillon. Last week, boy, that last drive, as you mentioned at the very outset, Devin, was incredible. But prior to that game, Dana Holgerson, his offensive coordinator, had been saying, take the layups, take what's given, dink and dunk if need be. Raiola chased down from Anthony Smith, the defensive end. Beware of the rush end. They've been really struggling with sacks after a good start, but those tackles from Nebraska will be tested again.
Yeah, I mean, he's a talented football player. You're going to watch him here. He's going to come right over the edge. You got one guy to block him, and I'm just telling you, a really good defensive end will not be blocked by fullbacks or tight ends. He defeats it right away, and he's on Raiola in an instant.
Yeah, he went right past Lindenmeyer that time, who hung in to chip away. 3rd down and 9.
This is exactly where Minnesota wants Nebraska. They think they have an edge on those edges.
Pressure off the edge again for the sidelines, incomplete. Great coverage, very physical coverage to go along with it. That's Jayonte McMillan, 24, that was step for step with Hunter.
That's a really nice job by Minnesota's defense. Man-to-man coverage across the board, and it is perfect coverage at every position. Outstanding job of getting on top, being in position, and forcing that errant throw.
Using the boundary as an extra defender. Archie Wilson to punt it away. Beautiful Aussie boot. End over end to Parrish. Look out. Nebraska's special teams, that has been a tremendous edge all season long. It helped win the Michigan State game for them. And down deep was Gallick to make the play. Gorgeous night in the land of 10,000 lakes. Fox College Football is sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. And by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. There's Kevin O'Connell, the Vikings head coach. He's got a very interested quarterback on his roster currently, that being the aforementioned Brosmer, here with family to take in the Golden Gophers matchup.
You see him still coaching, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. First down, second possession of the game for Minnesota. Markers down as Taylor forges ahead for about 2, and that's all. Elijah Judy, the nose tackle, number 16, senior out of Philadelphia, PA, with a tackle.
Looked like McCullough was lined up in the neutral zone.
Deepest number 5, number 15. 5-yard penalty for the previous spot. It's first down.
Yeah, you can see him right there, completely lined up in the neutral zone.
Brian Banks is our referee. Scott Aronowitz is our replay official. I know you love McCullough.
Yeah, he's a really good player, especially in those long passing downs. So if you're Minnesota, you have to stay out of those long distances to get first downs on third down.
On 1st and 5. Little bootleg action here. And again, underneath on the shallow cross to Gears. He's going to be 3 yards, maybe 2 yards shy of the first down. Jabin Wright with the tackle, who calls some of the defensive signals for John Butler, the outstanding defensive coordinator with NFL pedigree. There he is. Got that Grizzly Adams look to be a lumberjack. Second down and 2 coming up.
This is a good opportunity for some big play action here, Tim.
Got one to work with, don't they, partner? Uh-oh, ball's on the ground, scooped up by Taylor. And he manages to get it to the line of scrimmage, maybe a half yard or so. Judy covers him up again.
Yeah, that's just a bad snap down on the left leg. You're going to see Lindsey try to get it, but it's just too low. But nice heads-up play by Darius Taylor, making sure he picks that ball up to minimize the damage.
Got about a half yard out of it, so we'll call it third and a long one. Difficult spot to be in after a penalty to give you 1st and 5. Taylor now gets into the Wildcat. They run this inside the red zone a lot. Cam Davis is in the backfield with him. And Taylor's got the first down and then some. Drake Lindsey is not a runner, and they want to protect him as best they can, so they'll line number 1 up in the Wildcat many times throughout the course of the night.
Take a look at these two get up to the second level. I'm sorry, the left guard and the center. They do such a nice job of just getting movement, moving all the way to the second level, and eventually Darius Taylor finds it and gets the first down.
Davis remains the setback, the Washington transfer, number 23. Lindsey backs out into the shotgun. Davis cuts it back up. A healthy first down gain of 5. Second down and 5 coming up. Rex Guthrie coming up to make that play, the safety. Malcolm Hartzog has been injured really much of the In fact, almost all of the season. And Guthrie in that secondary, starting at one of the safeties.
You can see the clear emphasis, Tim, on running the football, right? And for Nebraska, they're starting to scoot those safeties down into the box so they can try to remedy that. However, when you do that, you take away players in the passing game.
Looks like we're going to get a timeout from Minnesota.
Timeout, Minnesota. That's their first of the half. It'll be a full media timeout.
Every possession is important. PJ Fleck, knowing that, didn't like what he saw and decided to call for his first of the first half. Just underway in Minneapolis.
To come home because I have a very special love for this.
This is Minneapolis, and that is PJ Fleck. Let's look at their season so far. We were here for their opener back on August the 28th. Buffalo was a tough opponent. They got the W. You see their overall record. They've been tough at home. And then Drake Lindsey, 9 touchdowns, only 3 picks. You see the sacks, but they haven't had any in the last 2 games. They have had a tackle for loss tonight, but they protect home, and they play the style of football that really does help you get home W's. They don't beat themselves. They run the football, and they generally stop the run. Darius Taylor's in the backfield on 2nd down and 5. Taylor looking to bounce out. Not much room at all. That Nebraska front gets some help from Watson Trent. Marquess, number 33, the senior out of Pittsburgh, making the tackle.
Yes, both Marquess, Trent, and Deshaun Singleton get down in there and make the play. And when you hear Deshaun Singleton making plays at the line of scrimmage, you have to know that he's a safety, right? So if he's making plays down tight and tight into the line of scrimmage, you want to try to get that ball behind him.
A young Louisianian from Sportsman's Paradise. Rockington was in motion. Underneath they go to Taylor. Darius Taylor's going to be a yard shy, maybe 2 yards shy, and Watson Trent all over that play, number 33 in white.
They've run the ball well, and I can imagine that offensive coordinator Greg Harbaugh communicated to Drake Lindsey, hey, it's okay to check it down here. We're going to go for it on 4th. However, I don't think they got enough, and PJ Fleck sends out the punt team.
He's going to play a little field position. Get it out of there. That tells me the respect, to some extent, that PJ has for Nebraska offensively.
Yeah, of course. You don't want to lose this game before it even gets started, right? Yeah. Punt the ball away and allow your defense to try to stand tall again.
Yeah, make Raiola take his team on a long haul. Don't give up half the field. Weston to boot it away. Barney standing at his 6-yard line. Another end-over-ender off the side of the foot. Lands just at the 15-yard line and goes out of bounds. Defenses rule the day here at the outset. 37-yard boot. Big Red in their all whites trying to exorcise that demon next. We welcome you back. We're scoreless, and my partner is on to something. Take a look at this.
Just take a look at the space that Tom Weston has here. If he were to keep this football with just a couple yards to go, the ball is still in his hand, and all the defenders have turned their backs, right? So that's just something to keep in your mind the next time they have a short distance and they choose to punt. That could be a fake, because I'm sure they're on the iPads right now checking and saying, hey, go get that first down next time.
Yeah, my well-rested analyst is on top of special teams early in this tilt. First down 10 with the ball at the 15 for Nebraska. Emmett Johnson, the lone setback out of the shotgun. Raiola. And again, yards on the ground coming grudgingly from both teams. Pickup of a couple for the young man from Minneapolis that Dana Holgerson calls his Christian McCaffrey.
All right, this is going to be another time where Anthony Smith is making his presence known. Take a look right here. They're going to have to find a different way because he is defeating blocks left and right. Maybe you get two guys on him, but he's disruptive to start this game.
Second down and 8. Raiola, out pattern, Johnson. This is why they love him so much. P.J. Fleck leering the cheers, leading those cheers as Darius Green comes up to make the stop on Johnson. He's so effective coming out of the backfield as a receiver. Only a gain of 3. There's Dana. Perfect find for this football team as an offensive coordinator. Had a storied career at Oklahoma State before becoming a head coach. Did great things at West Virginia. Came by way of Houston after taking a sabbatical when let go by the Cougars. 3rd and 5 for Raiola. Nowhere to go. Great coverage by Minnesota. And Dillon's just ad-libbing. Look at that! It's Lindenmeyer. A first down at the 47 of Nebraska.
That's shades of that game-winning drive last week, is it not? And Minnesota decides to only rush 3 so they can't get pressure. And for Dylan Raiola, that is great for him. He just moves around, buys time, and then finds his big tight end, number 44, Luke Lindenmeyer.
Biggest play from scrimmage for either team. 21 yards. Johnson. Oh, you see his ability to cut back, put his foot in the ground, and turn the other way. Baranowski, number 6, the leader of that defense in the middle after a gain of 10 for a first down.
This is really nice vision by the running back, number 21, Emmett Johnson. Watch him press the hole, right? He's going to get downhill and press the hole and then wind it back. Downhill, press the hole, and then find that cutback to gain nice yardage, a first down pickup for number 21 in all white.
First and 10. Hunter in tight on the left side. Johnson, not much. Oh, you notice they're wearing the all whites. When the game ended on the road last week, knowing full well the demons of the all white uniform. Since 2002, Nebraska has only worn all whites 10 times. They're 3-7 in those games. The last time out, 56-7, they lost to Indiana a year ago on October 19th. And Raiola went in to see his head coach, and he told Matt Rule, hey, we're wearing the all whites. We're ready to go. Get our second consecutive road win. It's been a minute for them in these uniforms. And yeah, they are wearing the pink sneakers to pay respects to breast cancer research. Emmett Johnson, not much this time. Devin Williams in there to make the stop. Speaking of road victories, this is a team seeking road wins in consecutive weeks for the first time since 2006. That's going all the way back to Bo Pelini days.
Tim, that's got to be a typo, right?
No.
My goodness, that is quite a long time. In 2006, I was a freshman in high school.
Bo Pelini had just taken the job after LSU had won a national title, and he was the defensive coordinator. You think about that. That pass is incomplete. Dane Key, the intended receiver, marker down. Looks like they may tag Kerry Brown, the outstanding nickelback. Might be their best defensive player with the penalty here.
Yeah, he's really talented.
Pass interference. Defense number 14. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
Now, Tim, I think the officials just set the tone for how this game is going to be played, because that is hand fighting from both guys, in my opinion, right? So apparently they're not going to let them play. So both teams, you have to know that, and as long as you call it even, there has to be no problem with it.
Ball is set all the way down now to the 24-yard line.
If you're a defensive back watching that, you have to say, okay, I'm not allowed to be as handsy as I might have been in previous games.
And that is a sharp contrast to what we saw 2 weeks ago when Nebraska played Michigan State.
They love to give big play action here with these tight, condensed splits.
Emmett Johnson, boy, look at the garnet and gold of Minnesota. I mean, that's a posse full, and they all arrived in a bad humor. Charge was led by Williams, the weak side linebacker again.
Yeah, you can see those safeties again getting down inside the box, and the linebacker, Devin Williams, making sure he pushes it out, and then you got a defensive back number 4, Zaquan Bryant, to come finish it.
Second down and 10. First deep penetration offensively for either team here in the first quarter. Raiola. Oh, what a shovel pass! Talk about an ad-lib. It was a dangerous one to Hunter. He's only going to be about a yard shy of a first down. Raiola got away with that one. Was he down? We've got an injured tackle, Elijah Pritchett.
This is timeout for injured defensive player.
I think that's a legal pass.
This is such
an injured offensive player.
An athletic play. In the Patrick Mahomes comparisons, they're going to go again right now, because that is incredible to be falling down, have the wherewithal to put that hand down, keep your body off the ground, and have the strength to get the ball to your open wide receiver. Incredible play by Raiola.
So we've got Elijah Pritchett down for Nebraska. That's Zaquan Bryant, who made the hit on the receiver Hunter, and he immediately went down hard. So we'll check on their health when we come back. Just another remarkable play by number 15 in white. Little house cleaning to do here. Brian left the field. They're going to check on him, but he came off the field under most of his own power, as did Elijah Pritchett, the tackle for Nebraska. They have now called this a first down after a review during the timeout.
Right, you can clearly see there he catches the ball and he has the yard to gain and he's contacted right away. But incredible play. This is going to go on the highlight reel for a long time, and Dylan Raiola is going to be able to show his kids, hey, remember that one time I was full extension right above the ground and then I threw it for a first down gain?
And I got to tell you, I think Brian felt like at first when he went to make the tackle, he was going to go for a pick. He was about a step behind. A dangerous but remarkable play on the part of Dylan Raiola. First down 10 from the 14. Banging through there is Emmett Johnson, running right into Williams. We'll be calling both of those names a lot during the course of this game tonight. Pick up a 4, second down at 6. The line to make will be the 4-yard line. Nebraska with an opportunity for a first down without benefit of the touchdown. Couple of wides, extra tight end in, fade pattern in the corner, Dane Key, incomplete. Cheonte McMillan again, sixth-year player out of Atlanta GA in coverage.
Yeah, Tim, I highlighted him before the play because you have man-to-man coverage. You want to give guys a chance, and Dane Key is a guy who they believe has gotten his legs back. They think he lost them. They ran him a little bit too much in camp, and they think he's got his legs back. Just an outside throw by Raiola there.
47% conversion rate on third down for Nebraska. It's an excellent number by anyone's standards. 3rd and 6 here.
Number 2, Ja'Cory Barney Jr. is a guy they love to get to.
Trouble, and down goes Raiola. Devin Eastern, 91, the nose tackle. He's a load in there, 6'6", 320.
This is a really nice job by Minnesota. They are all over this. They have a lot of man across the board with some zone principles. As you can see, it's man-to-man, but some zone, and there's nowhere to go with the football for Dylan Raiola, and time runs out. Good job of him protecting the football, not making a bad play worse, and preserving at least 3 points.
Kyle Cunanan in for the field goal, 33 yards. He just did get it off before the end of the quarter. Well, the rap on Dylan from time to time is maybe he holds on to the ball too long. That's just another outstanding coverage play on the part of Minnesota. There was literally nowhere to go. And a lot of heat, a lot of pressure. Oh, yeah. And party every night. Hello.
Hey!
Pay homage to Ace Frehley tonight as we go to break. 3-0 our score as we open the second quarter. And now the home team stats, sponsored by Wayfair. Every style, every home. And those home stats are pretty good for this Minnesota team in every way imaginable. Look at that turnover difference. Generally, you win when you are +8 in that category. This is the opening play of the second quarter after the 33-yard field goal. A couple of key plays made by Raiola to get them in field position for that field goal. But defenses have controlled, for the most part, all of this one. Here comes Coy Parrish. Markers down behind him. Flag around the 23-yard line, so we'll check that. There is Brian Banks, our white hat, for tonight's game.
The captain with a hold.
During the return, holding, receiving team number 35. Half the distance to go from the spot of the foul. It's first down.
Derek LeCaptain, reserve linebacker number 35, is guilty.
And Tim, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that he was a wrestler in high school, because this is a takedown. Just guides him right to the ground there. It's a good takedown. I don't know about wrestling, how many points you get, but it seems like that should be 2.
Well, that backs Minnesota up to the 10-yard line. Tough field position against this Nebraska defense, the way they've been playing. Lindsey. Beautifully done. Finds Coleman on the run. Malachi Coleman with the biggest play of the evening so far for the Golden Gophers. And a first down.
You see Nebraska's defense play zone coverage, and when you play zone coverage against Lindsey, he generally finds the right target. He does a nice job there of moving around in the pocket and then gets it to Coleman for a very nice gain.
They love this kid's maturity, and what's not to like? Quick out, caught by Bieber. Drew Bieber on the receiving end, the young man out of Cedarburg, Wisconsin. It's his 10th catch of the season, a gain of 3. Marquise Buford, number 3, the safety, with a stop. Second down at 7.
When we talked to defensive coordinator John Butler this week for Nebraska, he said last week he should have played more man-to-man coverage, and I think he's going to start to play it because Lindsey has shown that he can beat zone.
Darius Taylor, DT for a TD. Are they going to rule him out at the 1? Oh my goodness. They're going to rule him down at the 1. Andrew Marshall with the saving tackle. Boy, I thought he had it. He may have stepped out. I don't think he was tackled out, but he stepped out at the 1. Yep, right there.
Yep, that's a good pickup by the officials. But what an amazing run by Darius Taylor. And just like I spoke about, when you go to man-to-man coverage, once you get through that first level, it's only one guy, Marquise Buford Jr. He cannot make the play, and Darius Taylor is off to the races.
Well, you get an explosive play out of the run game like that, that will even things out in a heartbeat.
That's the one issue with man-to-man coverage for a running quarterback or a nice running back who gets through that middle of the defense.
Ball is at the 1-yard line. Taylor dots the I. It's Lindsey. Are they going to give it to him? Boy, PJ is apoplectic over there. And they do. They do give him the touchdown. PJ was lobbying pretty hard on the sidelines and finally got the call. He's not shy. He is not shy about letting him know.
What a response. What a response. You see that left foot back is usually going to be a tush push there for big Drake Lindsey. He finds a way to get in the end zone. What a, I mean, I guess, can you even call that a drive, right? It's so quick. What a nice drive there by Minnesota's offense to respond. Wow.
Only the second TD run for Lindsey, but the 71-yarder from Taylor was the difference in setting that up. His previous long, by the way, before that long run of 71 was 27 yards.
Tim, as I'm talking about man-to-man coverage, they line up in man-to-man coverage, and they get burned in the run game.
They sure did. Brady Dinneberg, 92. That's a high snap. No problem. Golden Gophers get what they need. It began with a big run. Darius, don't call me TD, but DT, steps out at the 1, and then it's 6'5". Why not just push the kid, right? Drew Bibber, the tight end, the redshirt senior, ushered in Drake Lindsey for 6. Here at the bank, shirts are optional. That's a 4-play, 90-yard drive. So that technically was still a drive, Devin. 90 yards. Lindsey takes it in from a yard out. By the way, the Nebraska all whites, I want to correct myself. I ran into my own answer as I was misspeaking and saying that the last time that they won was in 2006 in the all whites. And by the way, Brian Callahan was still the coach, because Bo Pelini was winning a national title in 07 at LSU. So my apologies to Callahan. Mosey back deep, and they'll let it go through for a touchback. Let's go back to this touchdown again, Dev.
Tim, when the defense is playing man-to-man coverage, you wonder, why is he so wide open? Well, it's because you got winter blocks. You got 1, 2, a 3, and then you just got to cut off that linebacker, and after that, it's up to Buford. He's the only guy that can stop this play. He cannot do it, and it allows for Taylor to get down the field for close to a touchdown. When you have winter blocks set up, it's perfectly. This is exactly how Greg Harbaugh designed this play, and it worked to perfection.
Sure did. First down 10 now for Raiola as they look to respond. Trailing for the first time in this game. Isaiah Mosey. Mosey's on ahead to the 30-yard line on first down. Carter Mins, number 11, backs up Jackson Howard at that rush end. Second down and 5.
Safety stacked. You got to pressure.
Off the edge again. Raiola's in trouble. Carter Mins one more time. Back at the 26-yard line. Loss of 4.
It's a nice job. You bring a corner off the edge, and so Raiola has to scoot over just to the right a little bit, and it allows for other defenders to get to him. You have to stay out of these long third down opportunities if you're Nebraska.
You know, Holgerson's been coaching around the issues at tackle much of this season, and those rush ins have been effective even when only bringing 3. Here they come again. Raiola gets away again. To the tight end, incomplete. Lindenmeyer tried to get back. Zaquan Bryant all over him yet again. It's fourth down, the punt formation coming up.
Yeah, if you're Lindenmeyer, you got to do a better job of getting back to the quarterback. You can see they rushed 3 that one time, and you saw that amazing play by Raiola. They won't make that mistake again. He does a nice job of evading the rush, though. But if you're Lindenmeyer, you got to start to run back to the quarterback to help him out when you see him in danger that way.
Archie Wilson to boot it away. Incredible freshman. Highly sought after punter. Beautiful, too. Parrish, always dangerous, with the fair catch at the 38. 36-yard boot. One of the faster drives you'll see for the Golden Gophers. Picking them up and putting them down and getting into the end zone. Courtesy Prince. Fox College Football sponsored by Discover. It pays to discover. And by Allstate, you're in good hands. These teams first played in 1900. That was the Gophers' only away game that season, winning it 20-12. Minnesota leads the all-time series 37-25-2. That has won 5 in a row, as we mentioned a moment ago.
Yeah, Tim, people probably at home saying, well, did Tim call that game? And no, they're wrong.
No.
That will make you like 20-something.
No,
but you were there, right?
Well, Chris Schenkel and Bill Fleming didn't even call the game.
You're like 12 years old?
You'd have to go back to Jay Stern broadcasting even in the 1920. You're killing me here. You're killing me.
Well, you know who's killing? Minnesota's offense on first down.
Yes.
First down productivity, 4 or 5. They're getting 4 yards or more quite often.
Not this time. Huskers right there to jam it up for Darius Taylor. Keona Davis, 97, gets the job done. All 6'5", 275 of him out of Tucson, Arizona.
And Tim, remember I talked in the open about the importance of taking some pressure off of Lindsey and really emphasizing that run game. They're doing it, and it's going to be a heavy dose of number 1 in maroon and gold. Darius Taylor right now, 7 carries, 89 yards.
71 of it on one play. And this is just the kind of game, in terms of tempo, that P.J. Fleck wants. Taylor cuts it back up, running that stretch play with a little room towards the boundary. Deshaun McCullough with the stop.
And how about the hustle, right? We talk so much about him as a rusher in the pass game, but take a look at his hustle in the run game. He comes from the backside to tackle an outside zone. That is incredible pursuit by number 15 in that all-white uniform.
Setting up a 3rd down and a long 3. Out of the shotgun. Taylor. Well, just as you prescribed in the open, taking some of the heat off Lindsey by allowing Taylor to carry the mail. He's going to be a little short this time. I wonder if they're, with a lead, going to be thinking about going for it on 4th down. It was Winery, 96, that made the stop. 4th down and less than a yard.
A lot of times they like to go to the wildcat and allow Taylor to fake that ball and then get downhill, but they're going to leave Lindsey at the quarterback position, and I would imagine hand it to number 1.
Timeout, Minnesota. Second time they've utilized it.
It's their 2nd and a half. It'll be 30 seconds in length.
One of the reasons he thinks twice about it is they're only 3 out of 9 on 4th down conversions.
Let's take a look if he got there. It's hard to see from that angle.
Certainly not enough to change it. He was headed down.
Yeah, but there's another angle right here that we're going to see after this. This is a better angle here, and you can see him reach out. I think that's a good call by the referees. I think he's inches short, and I think that's how they have it marked.
Yeah, even though the elbow might have gotten to the line to make, and granted that's not official, that line that you see, the ball placement is what's important.
And they're going to decide to punt this ball away.
Yeah. I was a little surprised they were looking at it. Again, they are not that efficient at 4th down go for it. Only 3 out of 9. So they'll play field position again, or maybe they saw something about that fake.
Remember I talked about that earlier.
Destined to boot it away. They stay at home this time.
Much better job by Nebraska.
Barney with a fair catch at the 18-yard line. Sunday, a Fox NFL doubleheader starts. Saquon and the Eagles taking on the Vikes right here. Our other regional action then in America's Game of the Week. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders battle Dak and the Cowboys. Or the Packers Cardinals. Check local listings for the game in your area only on Fox. You see the stadium in the foreground, and O'Connell still coaching on that sideline.
And he's talking to Max Brosmer, so he's definitely coaching him.
Emmett Johnson, they want to get him on track. He certainly has the ability to do for his team what Darius Taylor has already accomplished for his.
Oh yeah, he's an explosive runner, and like we talked about a couple weeks ago, his offensive coordinator Dana Holgorsen said that he is their version of Christian McCaffrey. He does everything for them in the run game, and he's electric when he catches the ball out of the backfield as well.
Play fake, Raiola in trouble. He threw that left-handed to Lindenmeyer. He went southpaw. Store that one in your memory bank.
Oh my goodness. You go naked bootleg, right? You got a guy on the edge, Baranowski. Get away from him, but he's on my right arm. So here I go with the left, and it's not that bad of a throw. A great play, and it seems like it's always Lindenmeyer on the other end of these plays.
After the game, a reporter will say, what about that left hand? And I know he'll say ambidextrous. He won't say amphibious, but amphibious has been used in the past. I'm just saying.
What is amphibious?
Emmett Johnson in the backfield, out of the gun. Little RPO action. It's complete. Quinn Clark. Shoved out of bounds all the way down to the 22 by Kerry Brown.
That's a really nice job of getting to that RPO. It's more of a naked bootleg where you get outside and then you see that he has that arm talent. He's rolling left, but even though his receiver is going away from him, he can lower that elbow and drive it right in, and it creates an explosive play.
43 yards on the connection.
You can see the fans sitting there looking of Minnesota. They're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
You got a left-handed throw. You got an underhand throw for a friend. What is this guy doing?
First down 10, ball at the 22. Johnson, a hop, skip, and a beauty, and look out. Inside the 15, finally dumped at about the 11, maybe the 12, a yard shy of a first down.
I mean, this guy's special, Tim. He's special. He's special. You get the football, and you have the option of go right, you go left. You go here, stick that foot in the ground. Whoop, excuse me, in the hole, set up your blocks, and then left foot in the ground as you're falling down. Left foot again. Unbelievable by this talented running back.
And that's why Dana Holgerson calls him their version of Christian McCaffrey. He absolutely means it when he says that.
And before Christian McCaffrey was Emmitt Smith, and that's exactly what he looked like.
Absolutely. They did give him the first down at the 11.5. Great defensive play here by Maverick Baranowski. We had a nice visit with him.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday. He loves his defensive coordinator, the very youthful Danny Collins.
And you know what else he loves? He loves putting his face on running backs. Watch him fill the hole. He said, no more of the dancing, Johnson. You are mine.
He doesn't have to call him Johnson, but you can't call him Dancing Johnson. 2nd and 11 after the loss of 1. A pensive Matt Rule looks on. Raiola in trouble again and down. Boy, Carter Mins is having himself a first half. That's 3 times he's been involved in tackles for losses or sacks. He is some pumped. Out of Horace, North Dakota.
Tim, if you're a rusher, you can't rush past the depth of the quarterback, right? So watch here. He's going to rush to the quarterback, and then he's going to come flat. As soon as he sees it, he comes flat, and he's right there to stop Raiola. Outstanding job by number 11 in maroon, Carter Mins.
4 sacks already for Minnesota for a loss of 6 yards. 3rd down and 17. Raiola, it's a curl to Mills, and it's stopped immediately. Cortez Mills stopped by McMillan, 24, and we've got a flag down.
You're going to have 57. Elijah Pritchett on a hold.
Well, suddenly they may be putting themselves in difficult field goal range if they get 15 here. If that is indeed the call.
Might be a hold or an extracurricular activity, but it's on Pritchett for sure.
Pritchett's the young man that transferred in from Bama out of Columbus, Georgia. Highly thought of.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Offense, number 57. 15-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Yeah, I just saw the end of it, and you know, he has the guy on the ground. Let's take a look at how it shakes out. There you go, 57 right there, right? So he's getting to the 2nd level. He makes a great pancake block. Oh, just he jumps on it. Yeah, I can see that.
By the way, that's something Matt told us about 2 weeks ago when we were quizzing him about his development. He said, listen, the young man's got a lot of talent, but he's got a few things he's got to work out.
Yeah.
Disciplinary stuff. And that was an example of it.
Right, because that shows all of it on one play. The talent, the ability. You get a great pancake block, but then you do the extra, and it puts your team in a deficit.
Well, looks like they may review it here for targeting.
He is a defensive player. Once he's on the ground, he is a defensive player.
Yeah, look at him shaking his head.
And I don't think they're going to get him. I would hope not, because that will be a huge loss for Nebraska, already struggling at sometimes at those tackle positions. You don't want to lose a guy who's playing pretty good football. All right, so he's a defenseless player, so it has to be forcible contact to the head or neck area. It doesn't have to be the crown, right? He's defenseless there. That's forcible contact to the head or neck area. I would hate to see it, but I would have to believe that they are going to go with targeting here.
I would agree. And by the way, Raiola wants to be protected, but so too does his uncle, the O-line coach, Donovan Raiola. He's one of the more physical guys they've got up there, and they've been a little patchwork, moving guys from guard to tackle. Sometimes that's the case in the college game. Puzzles, tackles moving to guard, guards moving to center and whatnot. But he's a mountain of a man at 6'6", 325. Be a huge loss for them.
Yeah, it's going to be really unfortunate. I truly believe they are going to get him, because it just has all the elements. The defenseless player, the powerful contact to the head or neck. How about Mike? What do you got here, Mr. Pereira?
I'm going with you. I think it is targeting. You get the player on the ground, like you talk, is defenseless. There's actually an earlier shot, which might be too.
After review, number 57 the offense targeted defensive player number 9. He is disqualified for the remainder of the game. It's 3rd down, Nebraska at the 29-yard line.
You talk about a double whammy.
All right, so Mike talked about a initial hit. So put your eyes on 57. That's an initial hit, and he's not defenseless, and it has to be clearly the crown of his helmet. So I don't think they got him with that one. But the next one, for sure, defenseless player, forcible contact, his back is turned, face down on the ground. I think they got it right.
I understand the need for Matt to get the explanation, and he's getting it. But the reality is that was the right call to make.
As much as everybody, it seems like everybody doesn't know what targeting is, but the rules are pretty clear. Defenseless player, forcible contact to the head or neck is going to be targeting.
There's a lot broken with officiating, and to some extent targeting's part of it, but not there. That was obvious.
The previous play ended on the right hash. The penalties have been forced from the right hash. It's 3rd down.
Got to get those hashes correct, especially when there's a potential field goal coming up. Johnson's the setback. Raiola got a lot of green grass in front of him. Dillon's got a lot of green grass. He took it down about a yard before the line to make. So it's 4th down, but a much easier field goal than anticipated.
Yeah, that's huge, because you're a veteran quarterback. I probably am not going to get this 1st down, but I need to do what I can to make this an easier field goal opportunity, and he does just that.
And by the way, he was going to get tagged. Probably a very wise choice to get down.
Oh, certainly.
When he did. You got to keep 15 healthy all season long in Lincoln, Nebraska. 30-yard try here for Cunanan. Bangs it through. So after the stoppages in play and Pritchett's targeting, they come away with 3. It's going to be fun all the way through this funky Friday in Minneapolis.
I love Penn State. Met my wife there. It's my alma mater. Fan since I was born. I think probably had a Penn State shirt when I was born. I absolutely love it here. And I want us to continue to take the steps needed for us to turn this thing into a beast.
Every coach in America needs to get the cliff notes from that man on how to handle that kind of storyline when you are the centerpiece of it. Matt Rule diffused and disarmed everyone, and that included his team. Penn State, of course, making its move. James Franklin out, and P.J. Fleck on the other side said 15 days, just 15 days. Here's Cam Davis with a return, gets it out to 18. And it's a story that resonates throughout all of college football, but particularly for Nebraska. To me, the interesting thing is that a storied program like the Cornhuskers has gotten more publicity over a job opening elsewhere than it has for its start at 5-1, and a chance when you look at the schedule, realistically, should they win tonight, they're not going to be an underdog that often the rest of the way. They're not. Benny Ijaboy is coming at running back, number 7, to spell Darius Taylor for Minnesota. And Ijaboy ahead to the 20, maybe the 21. Keona Davis, 97, after the gain of 2 with the tackle. We talked to Matt before the game, and we touched on it with him, and he wasted no time addressing it as well. And his quarterback said he ain't going nowhere. So it's all things Nebraska for Big Red right now where Rule is concerned. 2nd and 8. Little power eye behind Drake Lindsey. He sets up, going for the post. Incomplete. Kenrick Lanier, the second, the intended receiver. Andrew Marshall and Rex Guthrie were there in coverage. Fans wanted a flag. It was not to be.
Yeah, and they're in perfect position. You can see a little hand on the back of Lanier. However, he's not impeding his progress towards the football, and you're allowed to have that space. Guthrie is in position, and he tries to run through him, but I like the no call there. You don't want to bail them out with a pass interference there.
Drake would disagree. That being said, pass interference and offensive pass interference are still a judgment call every time out. 3rd and 8 for Lindsey. It's a crossing pattern. It's caught. And it is Jalen Smith for the first down. 14 yards on the pickup.
When you're in man-to-man coverage, what's the best route? You get on the shallow cross, right? He gets there, and it's just a sprint to the other side of the field. He gives his eyes once he gets to the tackle, and a nice throw by Drake Lindsey.
Nothing too dynamic from Lindsey, but he's 6 out of 7 for 39 yards as Taylor navigates his way to the 38-yard line.
Hey, Tim, a thing that teams have done to Minnesota is play man-to-man coverage, and the reason is they just haven't gotten separation, right? So that is a positive to see that separation and space for Lindsey to get that ball in there to pick up a first down.
Gain of 3, so 2nd down and 7. Ijaboy remains in the backfield, number 7. Pressure, lots of heat coming Lindsey's way. It started with Watson Trent coming on the blitz, and then Keona Davis, the tackle in front of him, made the stop.
Well, here's why I highlight him. You can see he's on his toes. He's on his toes. He wants to get in there and make a play. The offensive line does not recognize it. He times it up perfectly, and he gets to Lindsey.
So after the loss of 2, it's 3rd down and 9. And we've reached the 2-minute timeout. A real good one here in the Big Ten. With not all of the precincts reporting in the Big Ten, the winner of this game is in really good shape in the second half of the Big Ten college football season.
Coming up on the Fox Liberty Mutual halftime show, number 2 Miami in action tonight, looking to stay unbeaten. Which of tomorrow's ranked SEC matchups have our attention? Plus, Utah and BYU get set to add a new chapter to their heated rivalry, the Holy War. Back to our Holy Trinity, Timmy, Devin, and Josh.
All right. And by the way, Sarge, is there anything more Minnesota than that shot right there? Golden Gophers are playing North Dakota State, baby. Playing North Dakota. That's a Frozen 4 preliminary. Those two over on the Big Ten Network while we're on here. 7-6 Minnesota with the lead over Nebraska. Darius Taylor is the setback. They go shotgun. 4 wides.
This is where McCullough could be big.
Lindsey, crossing pattern, caught by Smith. Jalen Smith makes the sticks for the first down. Oh, the extra effort was pivotal for number 8, the freshman out of Mankato, Minnesota.
This is a great job because McCullough gets in there like I suspected, but Lindsey does a nice job of getting in the fight, climbing up into the pocket, and when you do that, there's always good things that are going to happen. Nice job of Smith finding the space, running through the zone, catching, and then making some guys miss for a first down.
Did you notice the umpire was a bit of a shield, too? That he made good use of the umpire.
Yeah, of course, when you run that shallow cross, you got to use everything you got.
Absolutely. A little chicanery back over to Taylor. Darius Taylor gets it to midfield. A lot of action for a 4-yard gain. Keona Davis comes out of there with a tackle. Clock ticks with 1:39.
I mean, this hustle for Deshaun McCullough is really impressive. We're going to get back to it and show you. He plays the quarterback, but then he finds a way to get back to the numbers on the opposite side and make a play on the screen as well.
2nd down and 7. Huskers bring 4. Over the middle and dropped. Might have been broken up, though. Gears was the intended receiver. Javen Wright was with him. Here's the previous play we were talking about.
Yeah, take a look at 15 right there. He's playing the quarterback, and then he just got hustled. This is all will, all effort, and he goes and helps to stop that screen. On that last snap, though, of offense for Minnesota, Nebraska played on defense what you call two-man, and you're probably wondering what is that? Well, it's cover 2 in the back end with 2 safeties, but they also have man-to-man underneath, right? So there's really, truly nowhere to throw that football. I imagine they may go to another snap of it here.
3rd down and 7. Taylor, run down from behind. Waneri, 96. They wanted to see this redshirt freshman have an impact on this game, and boy, has he.
It's a nice job of a chess match, and you go to this run play because you don't want a bad mistake there. That's a great job getting in the backfield, but take a look at the coverage, right? That's 2-man where you have a guy, you allow him to go outside, you get right in that hip pocket and allow him to go outside. The safeties are back in those halves covering the defense. Outstanding job of knowing what type of quarterback you're facing. And when I say that, I mean a quarterback that doesn't run, you're not worried about turning your back to him, right? You make sure that you turn and play underneath. However, if Lindsey had the running ability, you just wouldn't play that coverage.
Yeah, John Butler, defensive coordinator, brings some pro concepts to what Nebraska's all about. And as we mentioned, just in every category. And if you threw Ohio State out of the mix, their national ranking would be even better than it is. And as it is, they're a top 20 defensive football team in every category. Tom Weston will boot it away to Corey Barney inside the 20, awaiting this end-over-end punt. He decides to reverse field and lose yardage. Golden Gophers get the job done, getting him all the way back to the 5-yard line. Simon Seidel with the play right here.
Yeah, Barney's an explosive player, so he's always going to try to find a way.
Yep.
And that's such a nice job of covering, making sure that you take that return away.
Well, it's a huge day of college football. Starts with Big Noon. Bryce Underwood and Michigan involved as they take on a lot of big-time teams, including Washington. And then, of course, Texas Tech against Arizona State. In prime time, you got Holy War, Utah, and BYU. All of that coming up tomorrow on Fox. Hunter, incomplete, covered by Bryan. Boy, they've been picking on Zaquan Bryan, and he's been up to the challenge all evening long.
He answered the call yet again. He's in perfect position. A nice throw by Dylan Raiola, but perfect coverage by number 4. Zaquan Bryan, watch him, he's in his pedal, and then he turns and he starts to match. He gets there, he sees it where the ball might be coming, and he just plays through the hands as soon as it arrives.
2nd down and 10. Dana Holgerson's going to keep the pedal to the metal. There's Hunter, and Isaiah right in front of Bryan again, gets it out for the first down. They're going to go fast with the clock ticking. Field position means nothing here. Dana Holgerson wants to get it going.
It's nice recognition by Dylan Raiola. He sees Coy Parrish come down into the box, so he throws the ball right behind him on the RPO.
Raiola on his own. Gets to the 24-yard line before taking himself down. Timeout.
Yeah, you got to get a timeout there, and they do call it. Nebraska calls, use one of their 2 timeouts.
You don't want to keep him in your hip pocket if you've got as dynamic a QB as number 15 in white.
Yeah, certainly not.
Let's go down to Josh Sims. Josh?
Well, Timmy B, Emmett Johnson may not admit this game has a little extra for him, but this is a guy from Minneapolis, Minnesota. He was Mr. Football his senior season of high school, did not get recruited by the Golden Gophers. When I talked to him about it, he said, yeah, that put a chip on his shoulder. Didn't want to make more out of this game than it was, but his quarterback, Dylan Raiola, said, hey, we know this game means a lot to him. He is a big part of this team. They'd love for him to come back home and make a statement out here tonight. Still looking to make that statement out here, guys.
Now, one would think that if Nebraska comes away with a win, he will play a major role in that W.
And remember, you don't have to throw the ball all the way down the field to receivers. You can get the ball out quickly to Emmett Johnson, and he can make something happen big.
2nd down and 3. Raiola in all kinds of trouble. Anthony Smith with the takedown. 5th sack of the night for the Golden Gophers. Well, Danny Collins has got to be licking his chops. He spends a lot of time at that office. That air mattress of his is busy in the offices here.
They only rush 3 here, and they get home. That's something you just cannot allow. But this is all relentless effort. Relentless effort. Spin off. Make a play. A great job by Anthony Smith. We've called his name from the start of the game, and we continue.
Some human highlights from Raiola, and of course the Taylor run of 71 was big. And Drake Lindsay has done a very consistent job as well. And let's go down to Josh Sims. Josh?
Well, Timmy B, Matt Rule told me while those plays were incredible that his quarterback Dylan Raiola made, they also have to find a way to protect him better. Been sacked 5 times in the first half. He said we got to get the ball out quicker. We got to find a way to move the chains. Now, defensively, happy with the way they played. Gave up that one big play. But in the second half, he wants to see more checkdowns and just get back into a rhythm to get back into this game, Tim.
I hear you. And even Holgerson's well aware of it, and he'll run those little bubble screens, quick hitches. Minnesota's been quick even to those. Emmett Johnson, nothing doing.
Yeah, they have, Tim, and I think you're going to see an infusion of those screens. We didn't see a bunch of them in the first half, but they're going to be some screens, some quick hitters to make sure that you make those defensive linemen waste those pass rush moves so that they can get that ball out quickly, and I think that'll be really conducive to the success of this offense moving forward.
A little something to remind you of. Marcus Satterfield, who was the offensive coordinator, now coaching tight ends. A curl pattern, a quickly thrown ball to Isaiah Hunter. When Holgerson was hired to replace Satterfield, he did not bring his air raid in. No, he did not want to do that to Dylan and this veteran team. He adapted to the offense that was already in place, and he's worked around that to show you again the brilliance of having a guy like Holgerson as your offensive coordinator. And then hanging on to Satterfield, too, says a lot about where the program is and what kind of head coach Matt Rule is. 3rd down and 2.
You got a light box. I run this football here.
Out of the shotgun, off the edge, pressure. Emmett Johnson has a 1st down. Oh, can you imagine him jumping rope? My goodness, all the way up to the 45-yard line. And we've got an injured Gopher back at the 39, and that's Jayonte McMillan, who is trying to tackle Johnson.
Man, this Emmett Smith, Emmett Johnson is very, very special. He continues to dazzle every single time he touches the football. You got to find a way to get him touches. And I said I would run the ball there. That's an extension of the run game going to the screen. And another spectacular play for number 21 in that all white.
I mean, he's got defensive ends grasping for air.
You like that? Emmett Smith? Sorry, Emmett Johnson.
By the way, be wary, you open yourself up for all that social media criticism, right?
Right, of course.
Doesn't he know a Smith from a Johnson?
Those who know.
Oh, yeah.
Know.
Oh, yeah.
And guess what? We'll be right back.
Football people do know. Literally just seconds ago, before we came back, he stood up. You see Raiola checking on him. He he knows that was a heck of a hit that he absorbed, and it was friendly fire, and as that old saying goes, right in the ear hole.
Yeah. Friendly fire right there, and Minnesota has great depth in the back end as far as those safeties are concerned, but when you start to creep into it, this could be a big loss, and it's hopeful that he comes back in this football game.
The thing to remember, they're not terribly deep at corner, but they got a lot of safeties.
A lot of safeties.
In fact, McMillan has played some nickel, he's played some safety. They move him all over the place. Of course, Kerry Brown, who technically is the starter at the nickel position, is arguably the most overlooked defender because of the presence of Coy Parrish. Johnson, oh, he almost broke it. Gooseby with the saving tackle. That's Aiden Gooseby, number 7. 17 yards.
We've seen number 44, Luke Lindenmeyer, make a bunch of plays in the pass game. How about him on the outside blocking to clear out the way for Emmett Johnson?
Welcome home, Emmett. Make the most of the opportunity. Barney in motion. They look that way. He's got it, and down he goes. Immediately. Jalen Bowden, you think about these guys, how many of them they've got?
That's a really nice job. They try to create leverage with the motion, but because Minnesota is in that zone coverage, you have a corner outside waiting for it to develop. Barney gets outside, he tries to outflank the defense, but it cannot be outflanked because of the tackle of number 5, Jalen Bowden.
By the way, that's his 3rd tackle. The other 2 were against Northwestern State, so they are getting a little deeper into that secondary now. Blitz off the corner, looking long, it's Key, and it's overthrown. Dillon's kind of walking that one off. Key had a step.
Yeah, you got a corner blitz off the edge, and Dillon knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
He gets that ball out fairly early, and he throws it with a lot of air, but just way too far down the field, and Key's not able to catch up with it.
You could see the grimace through the face mask. By the way, this is the first time that I've seen, out of respect for breast cancer alertness, the pink headgear face mask. That is a cool look. 3rd down and 9. Out of the shotgun. Pressure again, Raiola. All kinds of trouble. Down he goes. Added to the sack total. That's their 6th of the night. Jackson Howard, the numero number 1, gets the job done. And a bunt formation coming up.
We talked about Minnesota's offensive weapons inability to create separation. Well, Nebraska is having that same problem. There just isn't a lot of space. Now, can he force these throws in here? Absolutely, but there's not a lot of space, and the rush gets to him again. There's 3, 4, multiple bodies tackling Raiola, it seems like, on every drop back pass.
He's definitely, though, playing like a quarterback that had 3 picks in his last game.
And I love that you don't make the big mistake. You don't want to play safe, but you don't want to make the big mistake.
Oh, that's outstanding coverage, isn't it? That's Archie Wilson's boot, and the defender that was down on special teams to make the play had slipped, regathered, and stopped it just outside the 1. Timeout. Fox College Football is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Home and auto coverage you can count on. And by Qdoba Mexican Eats. Let's go down to Josh Sims.
Well, Matt Rule told me that things went according to play. Well, switch that to PJ Fleck told me things went according to plan in the first half. They wanted to run the ball. They did just that. On defense, they kept Nebraska out of the end zone, and they sacked Dylan Raiola 5 times since added a sack here in the second half. First half sets up the second half for PJ Fleck. Let's see how things go here as they try and close this one out.
I see some of the crowd down on the sidelines is in prevent, trying to keep Josh from getting out of the end zone. First down from the 1. In the I formation, Darius Taylor dots the I. Solid first down. I want to go back to that punt that got down to the 1-yard line. Special teamer here that did the job. Number 25, Jeremiah Charles. He slips, then regathers, did not panic to make sure that that ball was stopped, in a nice use of right ankle to keep it in play. And, of course, that is a very happy Australian punter, Archie Wilson.
Yeah, he would have had something to say to Charles if he didn't make that play. Wilson would have.
And the special teams have just been incredible. That's McCullough, by the way, that's down on the field and injured. Eckler has been lauded for the job he's done as special teams coach. I mean, they don't win that game with Michigan State, perhaps, without special teams winning the day.
It was a huge difference, and like we talked about that game, the special teams were special. That's a really good pickup on first down to give yourself some space. Now you have the playbook open, right? You don't necessarily have to just try to pound the football. And on that play, it was a nice job of Drake Lindsey of getting to that run, right? You can see the alert taps on the helmet because he got to the good run play to create some space from that goal line.
2nd down and 6. Again, they go under center for Lindsey. Taylor. And this forward progress will take him between the 8 and the 9-yard line. Guthrie with the stop, they'll give him 3, so 3rd down and 3 coming up.
When you're backed up here, it's called the black zone, and you do this drill in practice. Your goal, obviously you want to score a touchdown, but your goal is to get at least 2 first downs. And when you get 2 first downs, it allows you to flip the field. So here, this is a critical 3rd down, so you can get at least one of these first downs, continue the drive, and get to that second so that you can flip the field position.
And the history and tradition of the black shirts. Well, they're all in white tonight, looking for a stop here on 3rd down and 3. Lindsey, great pitch and catch to Brockington. Lamecki, Brockington with that reception, and that was a bullet that goes for a dozen yards and a first down.
That is so good by Brockington. A 5th-year seer understanding man coverage. He's going to get inside and set up right in the zone of the Nebraska defensive backfield. That is a nice job of understanding where he needs to get the first down. Hands catch, outside throw from your quarterback, and a first down.
Penny is your boy back in the game at running back now to spell Taylor. With the extra tight end. And again out of the I formation. And we've got an offensive line pre-snap movement. Might have been 50.
Yeah, it's the tight end out on the outside. Looks like it might have been Pierce Walsh.
I think
False start. Offense number 65. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I think they could have called it on 3 different guys, actually.
Oh, yeah, take your pick. You got tackle out here, number 57 out on the outside. Well, you got 2 guys out there, and then the tight end on the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, it's guys everywhere. The only thing there is if I'm thinking, well, why you pick me?
We had a lot of hold your water issues and choke your motor issues going on that play.
Oh, yeah.
1st and 15. Backs them up to about the 16-yard line.
You can see these linebackers getting antsy for Nebraska. There they go.
Taylor. Just shy of the 20. Javen Wright with a stop. Gain of 4.
And such a fast trigger from not only the linebackers, but the safeties in the back end. There's no space to run because Nebraska, at the snap, they trigger and they completely outnumber Minnesota in the box.
This is kind of one of those games, Devin, as we watch it unfold. Anything more than a 1-score lead looks perhaps insurmountable. I mean, you want to keep this thing right where it is. Puts a lot of heat on the defenses. Nice curl to the tight end Gears. Jamison Gears gets the first down to the 31-yard line. Watson Trent, the linebacker, with the stop.
Tim, I taught you this before, but I know you forgot. This is the OTB, over the ball. A nice job of the quarterback getting from one side all the way to the middle, and a perfect setup for Gears to catch, turn, and get the first down.
He is a prolific passer.
All right, now Timmy B, OTB, over the ball.
Over the ball.
That's the route. He's going to go stand over the ball.
OTB. I prefer ECU TBs myself.
What?
That would be extreme close-up Timmy B. Out of the shotgun, Lindsey. Taylor to the 39. It'll be a couple of yards shy of the first down after the gain of 8.
Now, we've seen Lindsey be on target for the majority of this game, but when you're on target all game, your guys can help you. Take a look at this running back make this catch. Just reaches back, spins around both hands, and gets close to a first down. Outstanding receiving threat, #1 in maroon and gold. Remember, he was a high school wide receiver up into his senior year when he started to play running back.
Remember where this drive began, too. Just outside the 1. This could be one of those long drives that takes up the entire third quarter. He's your boy. Gets an attaboy from the rest of the offense. Rex Guthrie with the stop. Another first down, and the clock rolling along here in the third.
The offensive line does a really nice job, but when they do a nice job, you're going to need number 87 right there in the middle of your screen to make sure that he finishes it off, right? You got the offensive line with the double teams, and then Bibber make sure he stops Nebraska's linebackers in their tracks.
This is a drive made for Minnesota. They want this game to be played just like it's being played. Quick hitch out to Tracy. After the first wave of would-be tacklers, he gets ahead for about 5. So some yak yards after the catch to make that a healthy gain.
In the first half, Minnesota did a really nice job of first down production, making sure they get at least 4 yards on first down, and it looks like on this drive they're doing a nice job as well, keeping them ahead of the chains. Right now, 8 of 15.
This drive's already taken over 5.5 minutes, 8 plays. They're still only at midfield. If they keep moving it in those kinds of increments, we could have a 9 to 10 minute drive here. Just what PJ Fleck would like. Asia boy to the 41. First down, Javen Wright the stop, a gain of 8.
Ejeboy is a running back that they really like to spell Darius Taylor. Maybe not as talented, but he's the guy that breaks tackles and gets those tough yardages, and you can see an example of that right there.
This is what we call the old row the boat maneuver. This is row the boat football right here. Just paddle your way down and chew up time as you do it. Look at that discrepancy in rushing yardage. Over the middle, on the cross. It's caught. Living La Vida Loya. Logan Loya on the reception.
Man-to-man coverage. You get man-to-man coverage. You get to the shallow cross. And this ball definitely surprises Loya. He did not expect it that quickly, but he makes the catch and sets up a very manageable third down. Second down.
Yeah, 2nd and 3. We got a pre-snap timeout taken by Nebraska.
Prior to the snap, timeout, Nebraska. That's their first of the half. It'll be a full media timeout.
This is not at all going the way Matt Rule had in mind. And John Butler wants to talk about it. 4:24 remaining. We're back, and Devin, you want to take a look at that last reception?
Yeah, of course. If you want to play quarterback at home and you think it's easy, take a look at this viewpoint from Lindsey, right? You can hardly see nothing, right? You can't see anything, but he makes the throw with anticipation. We call it anticipatory throwing. He does a nice job of knowing where his receiver is going and essentially throwing it blind, and it's a perfect throw and a nice catch.
Doesn't hurt to be 6'5".
Yeah.
Even still, you're right. A lot of obstruction there. Ejeboy remains the setback. And he's going to tote it off the right side, and I don't think he got anywhere. He might get back to the line of scrimmage. That's about it.
It's a big third down coming up here for this Nebraska defense. They've been on their heels. Remember, this drive started inside the 1 yard line. They got a great play on first down, and then they just continue to roll. And if I'm offensive coordinator Greg Harbaugh, I'm keeping the ball in the hands of number 5, right? My quarterback, Drake Lindsey, I've taken some pressure off of him all game. Now he has an opportunity to make a play here on 3rd and short.
Taylor's had 3 rushes for 11 yards. Ejeboy 3 for 17. Lindsey's 5 of 5 for 53, plus the penalty on this drive. 3rd down and 3. Incomplete. Sierra Wright got in the way of Brockington that time, and it's 4th down and 3. They want to try to keep this drive going.
Yeah, and Harbaugh was thinking the same way I was. He thought he would keep the ball in the hands of his quarterback. He makes a nice throw, but it's a much better play by Sierra Wright, the veteran.
Let's see what Greg Harbaugh dials up here. Heavy personnel. 2 tight ends. Lindsey. Incomplete. Flag down. Brockington, the intended receiver. Donovan Jones was there. They could be bailed out with
holding.
a PI.
It's going to be a holding on Andrew Marshall, number 10. He held from the start.
Yeah, number 10.
First down.
Well, his microphone played out on us, but I think you were absolutely spot on. There he is. He's grabbing that shoulder pad there in the lower left of your screen.
Yep.
Yeah. 60,000 officials in garnet and gold hoodies tonight. All over the call as well. All Raiola can do is watch, and the same is true for his head coach.
That is a big call.
Sure was. But an accurate call. From the 24, 1st down. Just plow ahead with the I formation. He's your boy. Gain of 4.
The movement that this offensive line is getting is really impressive. They are doing a nice job of doing what I love to call recreating the line of scrimmage. And they are just blowing these Nebraska defenders off the ball. And it's not a huge play every single time, but they are getting great movement.
Look at that. Clock continues to tick. I said a moment ago, maybe 9 minutes would go off the clock. They're almost there right now. That's just keeping Raiola and that dynamic offense off the field. That is a prescription for success for Minnesota. On the fade in the corner, it's Brockington. It's touchdown. Talk about perfect execution. Run, 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 then play action.
Yeah, you've done a nice job of keeping the pressure off your quarterback. Take a look. It's just a go route, a nice fade, and a perfectly placed football. Oh, my goodness. This freshman has arrived.
Well, his father, Jim, who played at Arkansas, his uncle, Lindy, who played at Arkansas, and his grandpa, who is a legend from Arkansas, and also with the Minnesota Vikings. How proud they must be. And Mama Amy, who gave this young man the kind of confidence, but also humility at age 14 when he was hurt in basketball, gets him in for 6. There's the leadership of Drake Lindsey, and you talk about the potential season-defining drive. We may have just witnessed it.
Well, you're wondering, well, how was he able to make this and why? Well, when you run the ball so well, you force Nebraska to put 7 guys in the box. So it's 7 for 7, and it's only 1 middle safety. That's an easy opportunity to hold the safety at first and then drop that ball over the outside. Singleton cannot get over the top to help. What an outstanding recognition by the young quarterback. And then he gets to the sideline. He lets his team know, listen, this is our game, this is our house, and we will defend it.
14-6. So still a 1-possession game, but now you'd have to convert a 2-point conversion. And yards have been difficult to come by tonight for the Cornhuskers. Down goes Kenneth Williams, the original walk-on that was just given a scholarship after a magnificent return he had in that victory at Maryland.
But Tim, with all that long drive, you know, Dylan Raiola sitting on the sideline for 20 minutes, this game is still right in where he wants it, right?
Yep.
You saw him in the last couple weeks with a tight score game. They found a way to win these games, so he has an opportunity here to go down, drive, and tie it up if he wants.
That old saying of take what's given you. You don't need to put on Superman's cape until it's necessary. Well, it may be in the aftermath of that 98-yard drive. Raiola on his own. Ushers himself out, up at the 22. Nice gain to stay ahead of the sticks, which is what they need to do. Maintain possession of the football. You wait, officially it was 24 minutes of actual time that he was on the bench watching that 98-yard drive that his counterpart Drake Lindsey put on. Having some issues apparently with his radio and his helmet. Asking for a little help.
Yeah, it feels like to me he didn't get a call. He may be calling his own play here.
Yeah, he might. 2nd down and 5. They also didn't give him as much yardage as I originally felt in real time. Raiola. Again, nowhere to go. Absolutely nowhere to go. Just outstanding coverage by Minnesota in its back end. Rashawn Lawrence, number 16, runs him down. There's Dana in overdrive trying to get that radio to work.
Yeah, you can see he can't hear, and he says forget about it. He's going to try to give his own play, and he calls a play that against man coverage should work, but they are all over it with that mesh.
Big 3rd down and 5. Emmett Johnson's in the backfield. They're 2 out of 8 on 3rd downs tonight. Lindenmeyer, 44, is in the slot. Keep an eye on him. Down he goes again. Matt Kingsbury, middle linebacker, red shirt sophomore from Chicago.
You got a simulated pressure. You show one guy coming and you bring the other. You show this guy, but then you bring this guy and he runs right through Emmett Johnson on his way to Dylan Raiola.
Well, he blew that up big time.
What an outstanding play by number 49, Matt Kingsbury.
Parrish is back deep. We'll just let it roll. Still some outstanding field position for the Gophers at their own 38-yard line. Kingsbury, by the way, has 5.5 sacks this season.
If you're a backer, you cannot allow a running back to block you.
I feel for Emmett Johnson. I do have empathy for anyone that gets bowled over like that.
Yeah, that's 230 versus 200 pounds, right? So yeah, it's just the law of science.
He stood in there. He took it. Well, that stat right there is your ball game. That's the difference right now. That and rushing yards. Darius Taylor back in the game for this drive. Here's your boy, took the lion's share of totes in that last drive. Underneath, he goes to Taylor, and he's got it. Gets it up over about 4 yards. Was that a quickly played 3rd quarter? I mean...
Well, when one team just drives the ball down the field with run plays and completions.
How good do you think that kid feels right now? Drake Lindsey against Dylan Raiola, celebrated sophomore, getting the better of it for the moment. Still an entire 4th quarter remaining here in the Big Ten on Fox. Take a look at who's gone above and beyond, sponsored by Jersey Mike's. A sub above. Forget the yardage, okay? It's about efficiency. 15 of 18, 118. Couple of touchdowns. Drake Lindsey in control of things.
It feels like every single time they've called on him to make a play, he's been on time. He's been on target. He's known exactly where to get this football. He's done an outstanding job tonight.
I think you got to give Harbaugh a lot of credit, the offensive coordinator, for bringing him along the way P.J. Fleck and this offense needs him to be brought along.
And what's not showed on that graphic is all the times he got his team into good run plays, similar to what you're seeing right now.
2nd down and 7 as we open the 4th quarter. Here's your boy to the 45. He'll be 3 yards shy of a 1st down. Big 3rd down for the Nebraska defense.
Right, so once you get your team into a good run play and set up a 3rd and short, like I talked about earlier, I will keep the ball in the hands of my quarterback, Drake Lindsey. He's proven that he can be counted on, and what they've done is they've had success with those crossing patterns, those mesh patterns. Will they go back to it again is the question here.
A lot going on in sports tonight. And in college football, Miami went down to Louisville. So for those of you that are just joining us, we welcome you to the Big Ten on Fox. Carson Beck threw 4 picks tonight for the Hurricanes. Uh-oh, look out. Pass interference. Really well done, too. When you think about bringing a pass interference on, a lot of times it's because of an underthrown ball and the receiver understanding that. And Javon Tracy did, and he coaxes a PI out of it.
Yeah, I don't even think he did anything, though. Donovan Jones was out of position.
Yep.
Yeah, he's saying pass interference, defense number 37. You can see there he's just running through the wide receiver, and the ball can't even get to him.
Yeah.
That's a number of times throughout this game where Minnesota's been bailed out by a call, but it's the correct call.
It is.
You had a holding call earlier on number 10, Andrew Marshall, and now you have the pass interference on number 37, Donovan Jones.
A lot of times, particularly when you see man coverage, see cornerbacks and or safeties just panic. Taylor. Pretty good cut to get ahead. Maybe 4 yards. Deshaun Singleton, number 8, with the tackle. Now, John Butler's defense has got to become a bit more opportunistic because the clock is whittling away, and an 8-point lead is pretty significant even at this early stage of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but they start to move the ball down into the high red and red zone area. Even if they don't get a touchdown, 11.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 3-score game.
Bootleg action for Lindsey. It is, boy, almost picked off. Jalen Smith had it ricochet off, and it was danger zone for a moment there. Jones and others in coverage. 3rd and 6.
Yeah, they go right back to that crossing pattern, and it's a nice throw. I think this ball should be caught. Lindsey gets on the outside, and he makes the throw. You have some space.
Oh, yeah.
You go with one hand. You got to get 2 hands on that football and make that catch. But good coverage to finally get to him by number 37, Donovan Jones, who had the pass interference a few plays ago. You got 0 coverage. They're going to bring pressure here.
Yeah, off the edge. There it is. Inside screen. It breaks free. Jalen Smith. How do you do? Javen Wright saved the touchdown. But it is now in the critical zone at the 2-yard line, 1st and goal.
So we've seen this holding call called multiple times throughout this game, and it's not called here. This,
boy.
I would say that's a holding call. Ooh. So Nebraska's fans are going to be upset about that, but it's a perfectly timed call for the defense they were given. I yelled it out before it started. 0 coverage. They're bringing pressure, a screen, jailbreak, down inside the 5.
Boy, they did miss that. That was a huge missed holding call. Taylor, touchdown.
Darius Taylor's ability to be slow to the hole, right? He's going to get slow to the hole. He's going to see some leakage. He's going to give a jump cut and get outside. Slow to the hole, see leakage, jump cut outside, and an easy walk-in touchdown for number 1 in that maroon and gold.
Minnesota having their way. No question, you got some big-time 3rd down conversions. Another big-time call that's made, and another big-time call that's missed. 21-6, and there are good times in Minneapolis right now. It all starts Saturday strong with big noon kickoff. Michigan against Wisconsin. Oh, excuse me, Washington. the big battle after big noon kickoff that starts at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. 21-6, our score here. Drake Lindsay gets the job done with another magnificent drive. And now with a 15-point lead, and you look, they had one drive that lasted for 9 minutes, and then another that was a relatively short one, and aided and abetted by a call that went their way in the Nebraska secondary, and a call that was not made for their offense on an obvious hold. And suddenly you're down by 15 points. Dylan Raiola now finds himself in a position of trying to exorcise some demons in those white outfits. You better come up with it right now.
Yeah, this is a crunch time. This is winning time. This is where you have to have your best football played, and there are going to be some going for fourth downs if they come, and they don't have a lot of time left, so they're going to have to make some plays out there on the field, and they have the perfect guy to do it. Absolutely.
And dynamic plays are his repertoire. He needs a little help from his friends, particularly that offensive line that's yielded many a sack in tonight's game. 266 yards since the first quarter. Only 112 for Nebraska since the first quarter. That's Johnson, stopped by Baranowski.
Yeah, he's a stud down on the field, and when we talked to him yesterday, he just wants to hit guys. Baranowski does a very nice job there of tracking that run down.
Nebraska has struggled in third quarters, but boy, they've had great fourth quarters. Time for Raiola to shine right now. Checks it down to Johnson, who's dumped just past the 30 at the 31. Kerry Brown and Baranowski collaborate. Tell you what, they don't miss many tackles in that Golden Gopher back end.
You're absolutely right. They've done a really nice job of getting guys on the ground when they have the opportunity. Remember, Elijah Pritchett was kicked out of this game, number 57, so you got a different left tackle in the game protecting Raiola.
Very quickly to Emmett Johnson. And they have the first down past the 40 to the 41. Coy Parrish with the tackle.
We've seen that these moments are never too big for Dylan Raiola. He plays in the fourth quarter. He performs in the fourth quarter. 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He has to have all of that to get back in this football game.
Dana Holgerson looks to dial up something here on first down. Looking long. He's got Hunter. Oh, and I think he lost it. That was Brian again getting his hand very close in there. He's been picked on all night and has been up to the challenge.
Tim, from my view, it looks like he drops this football. What a throw. Oh, that's a perfectly thrown football.
Yep.
And a guy who's been so reliable the last couple weeks. Now, Isaiah Hunter lets one get away. Hits him right on the face mask. You can't throw it any better.
Yeah, almost got some of the shoulder pad. Raiola couldn't believe it. 2nd and 10. Still great coverage, though, by Brian. He made it difficult in man coverage. Mosey trying to get outside and is hammered by McMillan. Look who's back in there. Jaonte McMillan, who looked to have had his bell rung a bit earlier. He's back in there laying the leather.
Welcome back, Jaonte McMillan, man. He comes down and he lays the wood. Watch him come out of the safety position, and he stops it from going anywhere.
Put that shoulder right in there on the pads. 3rd down and 8. Out of the shotgun with Emmett Johnson by Raiola's side. Down he goes again. Jackson Howard, number 1. That's his 2nd of the night, the 8th team sack. Completely unblocked on this play. And they're going to have to punt it.
Yep, Jackson Howard, he just comes off the edge, unevaded to the quarterback. Nobody even touches him. I don't understand how big number 77, Gunnar Gatula, doesn't see him. He tries to block a linebacker coming from distance rather than a guy lined up on the line of scrimmage.
Wilson needs a boomer here. End over end, and taken by Parrish with a fair catch. Some happy Golden Gophers after that 38-yard boot. Cornhuskers Have to come up with something big on defense now for Matt Rule. He made his name on that side of the ball. They're going to need to step up now.
Welcome back to Huntington Bank Stadium, where Nebraska gives up yet another sack. And let me show you why. There is no instance where this should happen. You've got 1, 2 for 1, 2. So the reason you don't block the big, I have no idea. It's called BOB, big on big. If you're the right tackle, you have to block the big, which is the defensive end number 1, Jackson Howard, and you leave the linebacker Baranowski for your running back. I have no idea what he's thinking.
Well, we touched on the issues at the tackle position, and it has marred Nebraska's effort tonight. And there goes Darius Taylor again for a first down. And I'm beginning to see some shoulders shrug wearing the white jerseys and white pants. They've been on the field a long time in this second half.
You got no edge to the defense. You don't got no chance. I'm telling you, number 1 in that maroon and gold is having himself a day, and he continues to abuse this Nebraska rush defense.
Those numbers are getting even more dramatic as the game goes on.
What were my keys to this game, Tim?
Yeah.
For Minnesota, you had to establish the run, and because you did that, it allowed Drake Lindsey to have the juice to make every single play he needed to.
And he's played within himself in doing that.
Of course.
Absolutely within himself. Taylor trying to get wide. Give credit to Nebraska's Deshaun Singleton stringing that play out.
Can't really see who it was, but lined up in the neutral zone.
Oh, boy.
Before the snap there.
Yeah.
Offside, 97. Line is over. Our penalty. It's first down.
Keona Davis. So even after a good play defensively, this is clear to see that he's in the neutral zone right there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Nebraska, there have been opportunities out there, and you've just shot yourself in the foot.
Yep.
Whether it be a pass interference, a hold, they line up off sides. You just continue to give the Minnesota opportunities. Minnesota is not a team that's going to beat themselves, and it's on full display tonight.
Yeah, they had really the perfect antidote in terms of having to deal with Nebraska. And Darius Taylor being healthy again goes a long way in handling that.
Darius Taylor, the ball carrier for the Gophers.
It's another first down. At least it looks like it's a first down.
I mean, if something drastic doesn't happen, Nebraska may not get this football back. And if they do get it back, it'll be because there's another touchdown on the board for Minnesota. This run game and this offensive line just continues to move Nebraska's defenders off the football.
These fans who drove up, many of them did. They were staying in our hotel. Well, they were fired up. Opportunity to win back-to-back road games, which hasn't happened in a very, very long time. Since 2006, in fact. Taylor. Stretch play, stretching Nebraska's D, and wisely gets down before going out of bounds.
Again, there's no edge to the defense.
There is a marker down, however.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 95.
Wow.
15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Automatic, first downs.
He did not go out of bounds. Face mask occurs right in the middle.
Yep, you can see it right there in the middle of your screen. Like I talked about, just continue to shoot themselves in the foot. Nebraska's defense has been withering away, right? In this running game for Minnesota, when we talked to offensive coordinator Greg Harbaugh, he was adamant. He said, listen, we are going to establish the run come hell or high water. We're going to do it. And he was not lying.
That was Gabe Moore, 95, the transfer from Mississippi State. They got some of that face mask. Femi Ejeboy is in. Out of the I formation again. Look at that. Look at that. Just dragging Sierra Wright and Deshaun Singleton.
Movement by the offensive line in the middle of your screen. Center number 78, Ashton Beers, gets to the second level, and then the rest is all number 7, Femi Ejeboy.
By the way, we're talking about being in the hunt, potentially, as maybe that fourth team out of the Big Ten that Nebraska had that chance. Think about this now. Yeah, they got blown out by Ohio State. A lot of teams have. Lost a non-conference game in Berkeley against Cal. Very early first road game for this young quarterback, Lindsey. Minnesota can be heard from within the Big Ten, too, with a win here tonight, moving forward. Boy is stopped by Javen Wright. They need some tackles for losses, and best case scenario, really a turnover.
Oh, yeah, they certainly need a turnover.
This thing may be over. I mean, right here, right now.
The clock just continues to tick, 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 tick. And then you look at the timeout situation for Nebraska. They only have 2.
Yep. Franklin Bierman got a little tied up. Am I still in here? No, we're going to go with an extra tight end. We're going heavy. Technically second and goal, even though they're backed up to the 14.
Love the maturity of Drake Lindsey, getting out of the huddle late, making sure you use all of the play clock.
Taylor burrows ahead to the 13-yard line.
You just don't expect this type of maturity from a freshman quarterback. Understanding the situation, knowing when to get out of the huddle because you have motion. He knew exactly how much time he needed to make sure he got that motion in and got that play snap before the delayed game, and there's a timeout on the field.
Yeah, Nebraska is down to 1 after that. Now time for a quick message from Target. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Every morning we wake up, happy thoughts in our heads. Only good vibes since the moment that we first met. We are young, we are fun, lost in the moment. You make me dance, honey, honey. You make me dance, so young and free. Ooh.
That look tells it all, doesn't it, for Nebraska? And by the way, trying to win on the road is tough, really tough in this conference, in any conference really, but especially the Big Ten. But the narrative coming in, you think about the Big Ten where Penn State's now suddenly out of it, but you've got some teams that have performed admirably. Nebraska just cracked the top 25 in the AP poll. But there are other teams like USC, okay, still in the hunt. Michigan, Washington, all teams trying to become that fourth team that maybe could crack the college football playoff as one of the 4 teams out of the league. Minnesota is spoiling it all for Nebraska right now. Taylor, nothing. Stopped at the 12. Elijah Judy with the tackle. Let's go down to Josh. Josh?
For PJ Fleck, the main goal was to start these games faster, and their 2 Big Ten home games so far, they fell behind 14-0 to Rutgers, 10-0 to Purdue, managed to win those games, but had to battle their way back. So PJ Fleck said, we need to start fast. Well, we saw that today. They got on the board first, and then they were able to run their game, to run the ball. His motto, start fast, accelerate middle, and finish strong. We're seeing them right now finish this game strong on the ground right now, guys.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you can't row the boat if you're not with the tide, correct? By the way, Minnesota's 8 sacks is now tied for the most in history since they began recording sacks in 1977. And to reiterate, they only had 14 total sacks in their first 6 games. Dinneberg will try the field goal. They're going to set it up at the 20. So it'll be a 30-yard try for the senior from Merritt Island. Right through the uprights. The lead balloons to 18. Oh, it's a happy night in Minneapolis. Number 25, Nebraska, had some moments. Dynamic plays from Raiola, getting away from pressure. Even went to the offhand to complete a pass. Went under pressure. But Minnesota kept moving the ball forward. Darius Taylor gets plus 100 tonight again. And Drake Lindsey engineers a 98-yard drive that takes 9 minutes off the clock in the third. And the Golden Gophers never looked back. And the fourth quarter, which had been all Nebraska this season, after tough third quarters, they've been shut out. And it's a touchback. Fox College Football is sponsored by Wendy's. Get Wendy's $8 JBC meal deal for a limited time only.
You know JBC? You know what that is?
It's a junior bacon cheeseburger.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
They're very delicious. They're not too big, not too small.
My granddaughters, okay, in Mississippi, Tara and John's kids, they love the JBC.
Oh, yeah.
I've had to stop and get it for them. Underneath to Emmett Johnson. I'll tell you what, that young man's played as hard as he can tonight. He has.
Yep. If you're Minnesota on defense, you want to make sure you do not give up the big play. No chunk plays allowed. Make sure you keep everything in front of you and you get out of here with a win.
Gain of 10, so it's a first down at the 35 for Big Red. Raiola again staying underneath with the tight end Lindenmeyer. And they quickly get it out to the 47-yard line. Yeah, Carter Minns the stop.
Nebraska has no timeouts left, right? So if you don't give up huge chunk plays, even if they drive down, you make them drive down to score a touchdown, they're going to have to rely on an onside kick to even get the football back.
Four wides and Emmett Johnson in the backfield. That's Lindenmeyer into the slot left. Little bubble screen taken by Isaiah Hunter. And another first down. Maverick Baranowski is down on the field. Boy, what a tough customer he is, this young fella. Out of the state of Florida.
He comes in late and gets an extra shot on Hunter before he gets to the ground.
Comes from an athletic family. His mom was a great beach volleyball player.
And enforcer.
Yeah.
In the home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's probably in the stand saying, get up.
Yeah.
He says she was the enforcer at home. You're going to see him come in late and finish this play off. A little bit of friendly fire there at the end as well as he's going down.
Yeah, I think a safety rolled over him there. He's up. Mama's happy now. Leland Parrish has been so big all season long. Josh Sims has more on Coy.
Yeah, and going into the season, we heard from the coaching staff they wanted to play Coy Parrish more on offense. Well, he had a rough outing against Cal 3 games into the season, and Coach P.J. Fleck just basically said we put too much on his plate. We dialed it back. He is a safety first. That doesn't mean he's not going to play offense going forward, but he has to earn it. We saw him with a big game-sealing pick 6 last week. So expect him to hopefully get some more offensive snaps later this season.
Yeah, without that, they don't win that game. It's a much improved Purdue team. Brown kid can play. Emmett Johnson. Well, he decides to get as much yardage as possible, but the clock will continue to tick.
Yeah, they've got to move quickly. Being tackled in bounds there before the first down is not good because the clock doesn't get the chance to stop while they move the chains.
Yeah, he could have taken himself out of bounds easily, chose not to. 2nd and 1. 3.5 to play. Raiola getting some heat, throws that one away, really had to. In the direction of Johnson, and Raiola's got a little hitch in his giddy up. He had to contort his body as he was rolling left and throwing right. Maybe he got stepped on here. Let's
you're
check
going
it
to
out.
see his leg. It's his leg. He's going to hit the offensive lineman, right? And that's kind of getting in that quad area. That always hurts.
3rd down and 1. Quentin Ives, 28, is checked in at running back. Crossing pattern incomplete. Lindenmeyer, the intended receiver. And now you're down to 4th and 1. got a feel for Raiola. He's been running for his life, and fairly similar to really 2.5 quarters of the Michigan State game.
Yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to defensive coordinator Danny Collins, man. He saw that he can't be protected, so we're going to send guys, but also we're going to take away those quick throws, and it's really frustrated this Nebraska offense.
Johnson, no. No way, no how. Minnesota with an exclamation point to close this baby out. Matt Kingsbury led the charge, number 49. He's been all over the place. And the Nebraska fans, and they are as good as it gets in the college game. They are in disbelief.
This has been such an impressive showing,
hasn't it?
Not only by offensive coordinator Greg Harbaugh, but also by defensive coordinator Danny Collins, who is a very young defensive coordinator, and he's continuing to develop and learn on the fly. And his defense, man, did they play for him or what?
Well, he was working at just about anything that he could possibly work at for that man. And you talk about the loyalty that P.J. Fleck has with young guys that begin their careers. He certainly does. That's how active they were, Devin.
Yeah, the sacks are what really won this football game. They've been exceptional. And I'm just telling you, you had to know this was coming. You want to know why? Because when we were in the building, what did we see in Danny Collins' office? A mattress.
Yeah.
He sleeps in the building because he wants to get to work as early and as quickly as possible. All of his hard work and sleeping in the office and using an air mattress, it's all paying dividends tonight.
By the way, if you see Danny Collins, you would swear he was a grad assistant runner.
Yeah.
Like the guy you might send out for pizza.
Yeah.
Right? And yet, he's not only staying up in the office all night, he's also watching every press conference that the opposition's coaches are having. He almost becomes, in a lot of ways, a psychological guru.
Yeah, I mean,
based on what he hears coaches say.
That was his process. He said, listen, I do all my film, I do everything I need to do, but then late at night, when I'm in the office and I'm going to sleep, I watch all their press conferences just to see if I can get one little nugget that might be the difference in the reason why we win a football game. I'm just telling you, he found a bunch of little nuggets.
I mean, when he was a position coach, he had to sleep in closed-in closets before he got an office. Darius Taylor back in there, running back. Gets it up to just shy of the 40-yard line as we come to the 2-minute timeout. Huge day of college football tomorrow. One of the things I personally love, Devin, about doing these Friday night delights is that we can get home on an early flight and watch everything from big noon forward. And
hey, guess
we're
what,
doing
Tim?
that tomorrow.
I'm going to get back in enough time, and I'm going to be at big noon.
Really?
In Ann Arbor.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you know, you need to make yourself available. You need to tell Joel and Gus whatever they need. You'll run and get it for them.
Oh, is that right? How about these Big Ten storylines?
Yeah, how about that one? James Franklin gone. Only took 15 days. Who to replace him? Well, you see that Signetti got a nice pay raise. The Hollywood hype is all around young Neuheisel and the skipper, his head coach, and, of course, the Kurt Signetti story. He cashed in big time. And, by the way, everybody's going to be chipping in the state of Indiana. And in my top 15 that I put out just for blanks and giggles, I've got Indiana number 1. I don't think anyone's got better wins than they do. Now, I know people will argue about the non-conference schedule and all that, but hey, man, they went to Oregon and won.
That's tough.
And I think they did it by more than the score would indicate.
You just don't roll your helmet out at Austin Stadium to get a win.
No, not at all. And with apologies to the Ohio State faithful, who I picked to win it all at the beginning of the year, they are a machine, yes, but to this point, I don't think they have a win that's as impressive as the one that Indiana got. Now, Drake Lindsey is a young man that came from Fayetteville High School. Not really a prospect on his team other than himself. Player of the year, And a young man that really did it all. I'll tell you somebody else that was really good in high school. This guy right here, he was pretty good in high school. Yeah, that guy right there, Devin Gardner, led his team to the state championship game. You were wearing 7 back then. You were rolling 7s in high school, huh?
Yeah, I was number 7. My favorite quarterback was Michael Vick. It's pretty well known.
Yeah.
And then I got to work with him. Saw him at the seminar a few years ago, and it was a great experience for me. High school football, man. Gotta love it, right?
Yeah, and you began calling high school football.
That's right.
Got to get those reps in.
Got to get the reps.
Fox Detroit.
Yeah, with Jeff Bile, making sure I'm doing everything right. And then I got the call to the big time with old Timmy Brando.
Yeah, boy. Well, I started out with my father, Hub Brando, at age 14, and now look. Third down and 8 coming up. Minnesota, it's just a matter of a few snaps and victory formations. And we can start thinking about that great smorgasbord of college football we've got to watch when we get home. Taylor ahead to the 40.
This is a huge signature win.
Oh, is it ever?
Fleck.
Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you, Nebraska didn't see this coming. And most of college football probably didn't. That seemed to be an arrival victory at Maryland. By the way, that's an interesting game. Maryland and UCLA tomorrow. The way that quarterback for the Terps, Loxley's got himself a quarterback. I mean, he's got a big-time quarterback at Maryland to go up against UCLA, who right now is the belle of the ball in college football.
Yeah.
That game, along with a few others, will probably determine where we'll be next week.
Absolutely.
We're in a holding pattern, along with just about everybody else in television.
I don't know, Tim. Maybe you make a call and tell them where you want to go.
One thing that hasn't changed, a lot of things do in my business, but one thing that hasn't changed is my opinion on where I'm going to go. We were here one night years ago when this PJ Fleck team knocked off a highly ranked Wisconsin club in a trophy game, of course, with Wisconsin. Very cold in late November. And I don't know that the student body's going to come out for this one. I mean, yeah, they're ranked, but we'll see. Weston will punt it away. Ja'Cory Barney is again back deep. Barney's got some room. He's going to try it. Look out, Ja'Cory Barney, if he gets another block. Ran out of real estate at about the 45. That's a great return. 45-yard boot and a 30-yard return. Here's why the Nebraska schedule looked like it could get interesting, provided they had a victory tonight. You know, Northwestern, hey, Coach Braun's had a big one. We know that against Penn State most recently. USC, they look gettable. I mean, they do. UCLA, Penn State, Iowa. I mean, those were all games that you'd have to say, if they're not favored, they're not going to be that big of an underdog. So it all set up for them if they could have come out of here with a victory, but it was not to be.
I really love the way USC is playing as a team, but especially their quarterback, Mayaba. I mean, he is the belle of the ball in the Big Ten. He's playing really, really good football.
Lindenmeyer underneath. He took a lick, but kept on going forward to midfield. And then we'll have time for maybe one more snap. Raiola, well, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it? The ninth sack of the night, and credit Anthony Smith and Carter Mins collaborating on that one.
Yeah, that's been the story of the game. They just cannot protect Raiola. And a few weeks ago against Michigan State, that was the story. And it just continues. They have to find a way to protect him, but tonight, it was this defense of Minnesota, their young quarterback, who I think grew up even more. Unbelievable performance by Minnesota, both on offense and defense. The crowd is storming the field.
Yeah, it mattered, didn't it? They're out on the field. Good for them. Enjoy it. Take it all in. It'll be a difficult week and a long Saturday for Matt Rule, who, by the way, is a whale of a coach. You got to believe that there'll be a bounce back in this Cornhuskers team. But they got to solve their issues in their offensive front, particularly those tackles.
Yeah, but you just got to give all the credit to Minnesota, man. They have been impressive to watch. And you know, in the meetings, you said you were super impressed with them in the meetings.
Yes.
You kind of changed your tune. You thought that Nebraska had a bit of an edge, but you thought it was fairly even coming away from those meetings.
Yeah, after we came out of those meetings, because there's so much resolve, not just with PJ. PJ's the ultimate optimist. But when I get it from Harbaugh and especially Danny Collins, I came away thinking, you know what? If they can control the ball and keep it away from Raiola, then they may have exactly what it takes. And they are the kind of team that would frustrate Nebraska, who really lives and dies on the dynamic play of their quarterback.
Absolutely. Just the relentless pursuit. Jackson Howard, Anthony Smith, Carter Mins, these rush ins, they were spectacular. And then you add in Maverick Baranowski and Devin Williams, Kerry Brown in the back end, Coy Parrish. These guys really played a sound football game on defense. And from Detroit, #1 in the maroon and gold,